My name is Taylor Smurl, and this is Neat. Welcome back to our special weekly videos for patrons only. This is your companion episode for our Halloween 101 cocktail podcast. I hope you all had a happy Halloween. This is, of course, coming out after the episode and after the holiday. But I am releasing this still sort of in the same time span as Dia de los Muertos, so that's okay, right? It's still spooky. You know what? You can be spooky year round. I'm spooky year round. My pumpkins are still out and glittery. This guy. Ooh. So we're gonna just stay on our spooky train here, and I wanted to make you some of the cocktails we talked about in the episode. It was sort of a rundown of lots of different spooky cocktail ideas, but one thing that actually interested me was the sort of Corpse Reviver menu. You know, I'm a big fan of the Corpse Reviver #2. So, Corpse Revivers, if you remember from the episode, if you're curious, go check that out. We talk about it extensively there. But Corpse Revivers aren't just specific cocktails. They originated actually as a family of drinks around like the 1800s, like early cocktail days. And they were meant to sort of be eye-openers. They're meant to wake you up in the morning. So, it was just a whole slew of drink recipes that were meant for that same intent. Now, over time, many of them fell out of favor. Really, only one of them stuck around into, like, modern bartending lexicon, and that's the Corpse Reviver #2, which I think we have made on the show in the past. But the #1 is still known, like the recipe is well known, and there's also a #3 that kind of floats around and gets brought up every now and then, so I thought I would just make all three, because they actually sit together as a very different and kind of nice menu. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna revive all of your corpses. You have partied too hard. You got more partying ahead of you. You got all the winter holidays coming up. We got to get you back up and running. Let's make some corpse revivers. Let's do some necromancy. All right. So the Corpse Reviver #1 is sort of similar to like a Manhattan. It's a stirred drink. It's a mix of sweet vermouth, Calvados, and cognac. So we're going to start with half an ounce of sweet vermouth. And then an ounce of Calvados. If you remember from our Calvados episode, I think that was like 2 years ago maybe. But Calvados is an apple brandy. This is Calvados Pédouche, which is like a pot-stilled Calvados. It was really rich and appley and a little sweeter than most. I like this. It's not really comparable to anything else. Like apple brandy kind of gets you there. Applejack is a lot drier. I do recommend that if you're going to make a drink that calls for Calvados, you should try to track down some proper Calvados. And it doesn't have to be that expensive. This stuff can be really expensive, but I think this bottle was like $38. So my average range for a full bottle of spirit. I'm going to use an ounce of this. And then an ounce of cognac. I'm going to ice it up and stir it. I do think this category of drinks is kind of funny because we do have a lot of categories of drinks in drink making, but it's usually based on things that taste sort of similar, kind of function the same way. This is the only category I can think of. Outside of like similar time period, the term eye openers kind of function the same way. But even then, like most of the stuff that falls into eye openers, they kind of are all very strong, like stirred, spirited drinks. Whereas Corpse Revivers are literally just all over the place. Shaken, stirred, dry, sweet, heavy, light. It's just whatever gets you going. But anyway, I'm gonna strain this into my glass. Alright, and I looked at a couple different recipes. None of them really call for a garnish, so I'm just going to leave it as is. There you go. Cheers. It's a Corpse Reviver #1. Do I feel undeaded? Yeah, that's nice. Calvados and cognac always just go really well together. Just beautiful, fruity, rich notes. I used my favorite sweet vermouth, Antica, which is that Torino. It's another one of those Torino vermouths, but this one has some really nice vanilla notes. which work really well with the flavors we're dealing with here. Apple, cognac, it all works really well together. So I like this. If you're a fan of a Manhattan, if you're a fan of anything sort of stirred and a little bit nuanced, not too strong but not too sweet, I think you would enjoy this. This is a really nice. It's also very fall. It's very seasonal. I can see. I mean, to me, this isn't like get me going. This is like I want to sit in front of a fire and contemplate stuff. But it's delicious. All right, I got 3 of these. I got to work fast. Next up, we all know the Corpse Survivor number 2, but I'm gonna make it again anyway because I want an excuse to drink one. I love that drink. All right, Corpse Survivor number 2. Now you want to start with a little dash of absinthe in your glass. This is an all equal parts drink. I'm gonna do all 1 ounce, and I'm gonna start with some gin. I'm using my Death's Door gin. I thought it was good and spooky. Also, I like this gin. It's a bit of a weirdo. It's a little bit more savory. It's got a really strong coriander and fennel note to it. But I love it, especially in drinks that play a little bit sweeter. I think it stands out really nicely. So, an ounce of this. An ounce of some sort of orange liqueur. I'm using Cointreau. Ounce of lemon juice. And lastly, now the traditional ingredient is Lillet, but it's the Lillet that existed back when this drink was first invented, which is not the one we get in the States. The substitute you often see is Coca Americano, which is sort of a similar aromatized wine. My store had Lillet. I like Lillet. I had it. It does make a difference in the flavor, but they're both good. I guess the Coca Americano Corpse Survivor and the American Lillet, they both taste good. So, an ounce of Lillet. Or Coca Americano, if you can get a hold of it. Alright, and I'm going to ice it up and shake it up. Alright. My absinthe, a little swirl in there. And another one that sometimes you'll see garnished with a lemon twist or an orange twist, or more traditionally, not at all. So I'm just going to go traditional here, no garnish. Cheers to Corpse Survivor number 2. I don't need to. I know I like this drink. I love this drink. Sometimes you mix a cocktail and it's got a lot of sort of complex ingredients in it, and what it works out to in the glass tastes like something very familiar and sort of one note. And to me, this is no fault with the drink, but I feel like this functions as the Corpse Reviver concept really well because it tastes like orange juice to me. It does. It tastes like orange juice. And I mean, that makes sense. Like, Lillet is made with orange liqueur. Cointreau obviously is an orange liqueur. The gin, the lemon juice, just giving you some fresh citrus. It all is building to a citrusy, fruity flavor profile, but it's, I mean, you couldn't mistake it for orange juice, but it definitely, if it tastes like anything, it tastes like that. So very drinkable, very different, these two. The fact that these are siblings, surprising. All right, I've got one more to go, and this one's the weird one. This is the third one is a weirdo. Let's get into it. Alright, so the Corpse Reviver number 3 is going to be another stirred one. And this one is an equal parts mix of Fernet Branca, creme de menthe, and brandy or cognac. So I had never tried this one. I'm actually very curious how this is going to work out. Fernet and creme de menthe make a lot of sense. I mean, it was so popular to mix Fernet with mint and sugar that Fernet Branca actually made a whole other bottling. Branca Menta is that. It's classic Fernet that's a little sweeter and a little mintier. So mixing Fernet and creme de menthe is actually pretty, established. And I mean, the cognac's not going to be that wild in there, but I've just not had it as a set drink, so I'm a little psyched. This is gonna be new for me. So an ounce of each. I will say most recipes specify you want white creme de menthe. Probably a creme de menthe of a little bit better quality than the one that I got here, the old Lord's. The Lord's creme de menthe. It's what my liquor store had. I don't think it's gonna throw it off that much. Oh wow, I can smell that. All right, and then an ounce of. I love putting like Doucet in with Lord's creme de menthe. It's a real journey we're on today. All right, an ounce of this. You know, I understand using the white creme de menthe because you don't want that green color in there, but I will say, and I don't know how it's going to stir up, but this like weird swampy green that this just turned is actually really fun. I think it's good for a corpse reviver, a spooky zombie cocktail. It looks the right color. All right, I'm going to ice it up and stir it up. Whew. I don't know why you would want to use white creme de menthe when this is I mean, it looks black on screen probably, but this is just like the deepest, weirdest green. I dig it. All right, here's my first try. It's sometimes called the Savoy Corpse Reviver, because I will say, if you try to look up just Corpse Reviver number 3, you will get like a million different recipes. This is the one that historically is most commonly called number 3, but there are other ones competing for the title. So anyway, cheers. You know what? I don't. Wow, that tastes like an Andy's after dinner mint. Like exactly. I mean, it makes sense. Fernet is very earthy. The cognac has that sort of nice earthiness to it. That's sort of mimicking a chocolatey flavor. And the mint it's there. It's not overwhelming. You know, it's not too sweet. It does also just sort of taste like Brancamenta with a bit of an oomph to it. It's definitely a dessert drink. I definitely wouldn't want this with a meal, but I think as like an after dinner sipper, that's gonna leave you with fresh breath. No complaints there. There you go. Well, there's our family of our trio of corpse revivers, all delicious in their own way. They are very, very different drinks. We have, you know, sort of strong and structured. We have fruity and refreshing. We have heavy and sweet. You know, mid-afternoon, evening, dessert. Very different drinks. All right, well, there you go. There are 3 corpse revivers. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, of course, for supporting us. If you're seeing this video, you're one of our Patreons, so thank you so much for being there. Of course, as always, if you have questions, you have comments, you have episode ideas, let us know. We are here for you. We are happy to serve you. And I hope you give any of these recipes a try. They're all good. I'd recommend them all. Very different drinks, again, but all good. All right. I've been Taylor Sproul. This has been Neat. I really do feel like this relates to me and my siblings. Like, this is like Sydney, the strong and like the most structured. I'm the light, weirdo, fruity one in the middle, and then this one is very sweet, but like deceptively it'll lay you on your ass. Yeah, I think that makes sense.